talked to him yesterday, and so I don't know if he was allowed back at practice yet, but I'm pretty sure the suspension is for the most part over. I think it was more of just kind of cooling off period, and hey, this isn't accepted on this team, and we still want you on this team, we still need you, but just cut that crap out, kind of thing.
Yeah, and that's really disappointing. He was last year a very influential player, kind for the offense, for the team as a whole, and I thought he had some, maybe it's just some misconception of me or misperception, excuse me, of some leadership ability, of being able to balance football and the rest of life, but also interact well with the media and help the team as a whole if there ever was to be a down period. Certainly, there was a down period, and I thought he was a nice distraction for the media at times. He had a weekly scheduled appearance on CBS Radio in Chicago. Constantly, he was doing a lot of different events and those sorts of things. Very interactive with the fans, but it's it's very frustrating to see, and this is where Mark Trestman really came from, to have wasted reps and wasted time because it's not something that you get, and that's something that's very important to him. That's how he teaches, and that's how he's able to perfect his system. And when you basically blow up an entire day of work just because you can't control your temper and potentially injure your first round draft pick, who you really need to perform and be an impactful player for your defense this year. I don't know what you're thinking. I don't know where you're at. I don't know. I almost wonder what team you're playing for at times. And disappointing to see. I heard his press conference after the altercation, and I don't think that really did him any favors. Did you happen to catch that?
I didn't catch the whole thing. I did catch kind of clips of it, and yeah, it, you're right. It didn't do him any favors. I don't think he should have had a press conference kind of that soon. I think he was still kind of. I think emotions were still going.
Yeah, and I should correct myself. I shouldn't say press conference. He
Well, he
was
was
leaving
questioned by
the
the media.
Yeah, he was leaving the mess hall, and he that's well the as the players go back and forth, they have full access to talk to those players at that time. They circled around him because he's the biggest story that day, and the cameras were rolling, microphones were on, recorders going, and unfortunately, I don't think he disappointed. He gave good story for all those outlets that were able to get some stuff out of him, but. Overall, yikes! Not what I think we were accustomed to, and certainly something that we weren't accustomed to on the offensive side of the ball, especially of recent memory. I remember, there was lots of stuff with Olin Kreutz, whether it was altercations or in-team fighting or in-team alpha power struggles, those sorts of things. Uh, but we've never, granted, the Bears haven't had a tight end worth anything since Greg Olson, but at that point in time, he was the only weapon, and yeah, it was a much different team, much different player. So when you have one of your best players or perceived best offensive players and best offensive weapons do this, it's it's troubling.
Yeah. Um, and maybe that's why he couldn't make it on the field. And wasn't he originally drafted by Dallas? I think he was drafted by Dallas, and then had his chance with the Giants. And maybe they didn't want to put up with this crap, and that's why he was available for the Bears. Because he is very talented. He's a hell of a talent. He's part of what I consider the best offense in the NFC. Um, at least statistically wise, they were last year, and you need him on the field. And that's the thing. For one, a lot of people are saying, well, he did this in practice to a teammate. You can't do that to a teammate. If he did that on a Sunday in a game, well, he's
Oh
going to get a 15-yard
God.
penalty and probably kicked out of the game. Well, that doesn't help you in a
Yeah.
game for sure. So he he needs to, watch his temper. I think he knows that. He's a very eccentric guy. I mean, listening to him on the radio, reading what he says on Twitter, very different, very emotional, a little bit out there. And, you know, I think you just kind of have to live with that, though. I think these things, I don't see this being the last practice altercation that he's going to have. Maybe this year it will be, but, you know, I can see it definitely happening in years to come. And you know what? It's the NFL. I say you kind of just have to deal with it. And I think the Bears will.
Yeah, I think they'll deal with it. Well, I don't think they have a choice to really deal with it. But if it does become a problem, and if it, yeah, gosh, it's tough to say because I don't want to hem myself into my comments because he has a track record of doing this at Dallas and at the Giants. And to see him kind of carry this over, he gladly has said he wants to win a championship. He's here to help win a championship. You doing what you're doing is not helping win a championship. I'm very glad it wasn't in a game because we don't Bears fans and the Bears organization do not need him to be suspended for a game or two. It's just not there. We just don't need the fans don't need it. Team doesn't need it. It doesn't advance your chances in getting to the Super Bowl. Otherwise, it it's kind of funny because you've had plenty of I don't want to say plenty of problem children coming in, but Brandon Marshall is a guy with a long history of trouble at his previous two stops at Denver as well as at Miami. Comes here and he's been is he's been
He's like
pretty
the
clean.
team leader right now, at least on the offense. I mean, he really is. He's
Yeah, aside from Jay Cutler, I don't think there's really any more important player on the offensive side of the ball. I could understand and listen to an argument for Alshon Jeffrey, but those three right now are some of the more important people for your team. And Martellus Bennett being that sort of safety release or that sort of check down. Of course, I know Matt Forte is also a check down in the passing game, but having those options and having the mastermind of Mark Trestman to do these sorts of things, you're only hurting yourself. And it's selfish. Is to me is what it comes down to. And I don't see Phil Emery or Mark Trestman tolerating selfishness.
no, and I like that. Some shows that they're not Jim Schwartz. So
Oh God. Oh man. Yeah. That's if you don't know what we're talking about, that's antics that are best saved for Detroit. It's
even
gosh.
well, even they
And
got
what
even they couldn't stand it anymore. So
it took them a
it took
while.
them long enough. That's for sure.
So yeah, that's been that. Injuries, as I said, have kind of gone through training camp. Obviously, the most serious one being the broken collarbone for Marquise Wilson, and other than that, okay, few sprains, few days off. Kyle Long battling a virus and finally starting to kind of get back into the swing of practice and things. I hope it doesn't translate into on-field performance issues. That would really, really be a disappointment if it was. But we got the first preseason game coming up tomorrow. I guess there really is a battle for number two. Not that it, not that we want to really highlight the number two quarterback.
And you said it perfectly. The battle for a number two. Who, which number two will play less like a number two?
Yeah. Oh gosh. I don't. It's going to be tough because I don't think you're going to see either Jordan Palmer or Jimmy Clausen get opportunities to throw to Alshon Jeffrey or
Well, let's hope not. I mean,
or to
I
Brandon
ideally
Marshall.
you never have to see either one of them in a regular season game unless it's
I
like,
agree.
hey, we're up 7 scores. Let's, you know, let's get Cutler out of the game, and you know, but
Yeah. Oh, so that has really been that. Anything else as far as the major? I shouldn't say major, but mainstream sports around town.
a really bad break,
Oh yeah.
pun intended, for the Indiana Pacers actually helps the Chicago Bulls' chances getting to the Eastern Conference Finals. Oh wait, but then something happened today, and there is love in Cleveland, and that's bad for the Bulls' chances to get to the Eastern Conference Finals. So yes, quite a week in the NBA, the especially in the Eastern Conference. Rose is progressing nicely in the USA Summer. I don't even. What do you call that? Their exhibition
I
games, whatever
yeah.
scrimmages.
Is it placement games? Are they placement games? I don't
I
even
don't
think
know.
they're
I don't
that.
really pay that much attention. Um,
Yeah.
it's like
I don't blame
preseason
you.
football, you know.
Oh, well, are you gonna watch some of preseason
I
football?
I might catch if it, I might watch a little of it if I'm home, and which I probably won't be. It's Friday, so I'll probably go out for dinner or something. But if I happen to be home and there isn't a movie on or something, yeah, I might turn on for a little bit. But yeah, Paul George for the Pacers. If you didn't hear or see, one of the more vicious looking injuries you'll ever see. Broke
Yeah.
broke his leg, and I I will say it's not as bad as what's his name from Louisville, but it's close. It's pretty close. And then Love joins the Miami Heat or Miami Heat. Wow, joins the
The
yeah,
Cleveland Heat. Yeah.
basically joins Cleveland today. So lots of news.
And while the deal is in agreement for the trade as far as between the two players, there is a 30-day period where Cleveland has to hold on to their draft picks. So once that expires, that can be traded. Those individuals can be traded, or their contracts can be traded, as well as the pick for the 2015 draft, the first round pick for the 2015 draft by Cleveland to Minnesota for Kevin Love. It's
I think
yeah.
they need Rudy Gay now.
You think they'll get him?
No, Ray Allen, yes.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I think he already signed with them, right?
I
I
I
think he
don't.
was
I think
tag
he was
along.
waiting, but I think they're saying that basically this trade is like what needed to happen for Ray Allen to go there for sure. So I
Yeah.
yeah, it'll probably be a matter of days.
Yeah. So by this time next month, by the beginning of around Labor Day, I guess you could say that. A little bit after, I guess. Then the deal for Kevin Love will be official, and I'm sure you know we'll get all those sort of storylines and all those further. I don't know. Put the team under the microscope, I guess, a little bit more. Not that it really can, because I think we've really beaten the Bulls to death.
We're looking
I
for a story.
Yeah, we're kind of searching. So, but but that's okay. I'm sure we'll find something. Something will happen. Someone will say something stupid. My money would be on B.J. Armstrong.
Um, or Derek's brother.
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah,
So
yeah, good bets there. Anything else as far as mainstream? Mainstream.
real.
Yeah, major, real, mainstream, however we want to put it. Sports.
I think that's it.
Well, for all of you fans of that, we will let you guys go as we switch gears here. And if you choose to stick around, thank you for doing so. Otherwise, we'll talk to you next week, and we will sort of nerd out on sports entertainment. And without further ado, I guess I was surprised I didn't get to see Raw live this week. I did record it